Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video, we have a new Kaspa ASIC manufacturer jumping in the game, and it's now GoldShell, right? This is going to be coming from IBeLink. We're going to talk about their BMKS Max miner. So they did release a new miner. It is a large unit. I'm going to talk about it. It's somewhat appealing. We'll go over the specs. We'll look at what it looks like. We'll stack it, compare it to the competition, and just see how it stacks up, right? So we'll talk about it, give our thoughts on it, see if it's worthwhile, right? So if that sounds good, guys, stay tuned. Let's get to this thing. So IBeLink has officially jumped in the game, the Kaspa ASIC game, which again is too freaking late in my opinion. But we are here. They did kind of give us a sneak peek back in late November. Again, we covered their Twitter when we were talking about the Siacoin miners. They kind of told us that they were going to have new units coming out, and I was 100% convinced it was going to be a Siacoin miner, right? Siacoin had this pump, all the craze going on. I was pretty much 100% convinced, but nope. They decided to get on the late train along with GoldShell and release a Kaspa ASIC, right? So they did start off with their biggest unit, okay? So the Max series is their biggest unit. Not bad specs, actually. 10.3 terahash. 3,400 watts. Nearly identical to that WindMiner K9. Okay, the K9 is 10.3 terahash, so identical there. The K9 technically is more efficient at 3,300 watts versus the 3,400 watts, but essentially identical. So we can see it. It's going to be about 67 bucks a day, which is pretty freaking good, right? So the key standouts though. This is the Miner Bros price. This is not the MSRP, right? We all know Miner Bros is typically on the high side. So realistically, MSRP is probably like 10.5, somewhere in that range. Not a bad price actually, if when we compare it to everything else, right? So even with iceriver's price drop, they did just have a price drop, and even with that price drop, this guy is kind of a little bit more appealing, especially with all that negative press with iceriver going on right now, right? So it was excellent timing on their part in a sense, right? Just because there's all this FUD going on with iceriver, and then they're beating GoldShell to the punch, right? GoldShell's like super dropping the ball right now. I don't know who's running their PR, their marketing, but they gave us, you know, an idea that, not an idea, but they confirmed that they had units coming out, but not giving us any specs, not giving us anything. And IBeLink just beat them to the punch, right? So it's, the reason I'm saying they're dropping it is because number one, they got beat here. Number two, iceriver just did a price drop. So if GoldShell's prices were going to be better, or the specs were going to be better, those are pre-orders they could have fulfilled already. Because we all know, typically GoldShell comes out, even when they release it on their website, typically like a 2 to 4 week shipping window afterwards, right? So they should have just put it out there, put their pre-orders in, and let it be. But instead, they decided to take their time and wait for whatever reason, and now they are getting undercut here potentially, right? We'll see what their specs are, we'll see what their prices are, but again, if people see this and they see value in either this or those icerivers, which people did because they sold out on their website, right? Those are sales that they could have gotten instead, right? So kind of weird there, but okay. So 10.3 terahash, $11,400. Okay, we look at iceriver. When we compare the similar model, which is their big guy, it's the KS3. 8 terahash for 10,400, and this is with the price drop. This is a price drop. Okay, so even after the price drop, again, you're getting 20% more hash for only what, $1,000 more, right? And considering all the issues going on with iceriver, IBeLink has been around. They've been making ASICs for quite a while. Definitely, immediately, just not even having to like break it down, more appealing currently at this time, right? So when we look at the street price, it's about the same, right? 10K from Nhash. Typically, a lot of the stores now are cheaper than the iceriver site. And then on top of the fact that you're not paying duties, remember if you buy from iceriver, you're gonna get hit with those duties and fees. So do not do it, right? Make sure your vendor takes care of those for you, and you're avoiding that, right? Because that could be 30% on 10K. That's another 3K bill you'd have on top of that. So yeah, do not do that. So, and also, when we compare it to the Bitmain KS3, right, which they did release, wanted to say increase their price, they kind of did, right? So the 9.4, 3,500 watts, so technically it's also more efficient than even this guy, right? Because technically we're about 10% more hash and about 100 less watts, right? So kind of interesting there as well. But the key thing is the price, right? So this guy's 15.5 versus the 11.4 for this guy. Okay, that's a pretty significant difference considering this guy is more efficient and then 10% more power, right? As far as in terms of terahash. So pretty appealing price, right? Especially if you're interested in these bigger guys. Now, as far as quality goes, we know the Bitmain units are been fairly solid. IBeLink, again, I can't really attest to them. I don't really have any experience with them. I don't really know too many of you guys who had them. So if any guys do have any IBeLinks, especially the ASICs, right? I know they have little box miners, but if you guys have any of these guys, let us know how long they've been lasting. How are those power supplies? Are they holding up? How have they been holding up, right? That way, if people want to have an idea as to like how long they may last, right? Luckily, it does seem like the style is in line with the other Maxes. So most likely it's like the same power supply, so you'd at least have access to those things. So something to consider there, right? So bang for the buck wise, it's not bad. The only thing was, does it make sense at this point with Kaspa ASICs? That's up for you to decide, right? My viewpoint, I know some people are saying, oh, it's too late for them. I don't think it's necessarily too late. Timing has been everything, right? Initially, of course, the ones who made out the best were the ones who got in super early on batch 1 and batch 2, right? But then even afterwards, people have still done fairly well, right? The timing has been getting in right after that price drop. And if the price drop is significant enough to match the rewards, right? So like for me currently, it doesn't match the rewards. Right, rewards have dropped pretty drastically since even just as recently as November. For those of you guys who ordered in that November batch, rewards have gone down a good chunk. The price has gone down, but to me, it has not kept up to pace with how much the rewards have gone down. Right, so if you're looking for an entry point, like for me, this would not be appealing at all. I would still consider it, but not at this price point. Right, once we had another price dip, then it can make sense. Right, and chances are it can happen, right? Because again, now we have more competition, more aces coming in. It's better for the consumer, right? Now they don't have that monopoly. Like at first it was just Bitmain. Then iceriver came on, and every time Ice or Bitmain lowered a little bit, iceriver undercut them, right? Now there's going to be a total of 4 big manufacturers, okay? So right now, IBeLink is jumping in. We got to see what GoldShell does with their prices, right? The smart game would be for them to undercut these guys. We'll see how big that unit is. We'll see if it's a unit as big as this or if it's something else, right? But if the cost to hash ratio makes sense, it could be more worthwhile, right? And then right now, iceriver has all this negative press. So chances are they're going to want to undercut whatever they undercut them with, right? So again, they're going to be playing this game, and it's good for the consumer, right? This is what we want to see, and ideally, this is an ideal situation for all of us. Like in my opinion, yes, they're too late. But is it too late to get into any of these bigger boy ASICs at these price points? In my opinion, currently, yes. But there is going to come a point in time, maybe in 3 months, maybe 4 months, maybe 5 months, where these guys are, instead of being 10K, are now 6K, are now 5K, are now 4K, right? Again, Kaspa is insanely profitable still. They're going to make a ton of these things. Kaspa is still super, super popular. And the prices are going to continue to come down, right? So it's just finding at what point can make sense to you, right? So it's a hot topic of debate, and it's up to you to calculate and think about how it's going to go. I picked my entry point for that reason, and luckily right now with everything going on, it's been working, right? And it looks like it's going to do fairly well, and hopefully in about 3 months it'll be paid off, right? So we'll see how that pans out, but again, more competition is good. What I would like to see here is, again, typically IBeLink does the same thing like how what GoldShell does. IBeLink is almost a direct competitor with GoldShell. They're very, very similar. So this is their max model. So meaning they're most likely going to release a regular BMKS. Okay? What would be nice to see is if they release something kind of in between, right? So like the issue with like the icerivers right now is they have the 1 and 2 and then the 3M, right? It's a pretty big gap there that they can fill in. Right, so if they were to release a 4 or 5 terahash unit and the price to hash made sense, that's something that could work. And that's something that could definitely be appealing. And this is for both of them. This is for IBeLink or for GoldShell, right? That to me would be a ticket in, because if they release something like a KS0 Pro, like the small guys, I don't think are going to do too well. I don't see them beating the KS0 Pro on price. Like if GoldShell does release a little box miner, it's going to be fairly difficult for them to beat this thing on price, right? Unless they were going to do something where it's like significantly greater in that small form factor and in that price point. Like maybe if it was 500 gigahash at like $449 or something, which I highly doubt, right? I kind of see it being something similar to this. But who knows? Maybe if they release something like that, or again something in between, that could work, right? Because I'm sure IBeLink will release, again, also like one of these little box minis as well. And I'm sure GoldShell will also, right? So it's just going to be dependent on the price point. For me, though, these small guys, not appealing at all whatsoever, right? Same thing with like the KS0 and the Zero Pros. Although I did get one. Again, I had store credit to use, so pretty much decided to burn it on that. But would I actually pay the $500 for one? No, not necessarily my cup of tea, right? But again, I think there is a market for them if they are strategic and if they kind of think about it and if they put something kind of in that mid-range. So like a 3 terahash unit, 4 terahash unit, 5 terahash unit where the price makes sense, right? Because then at this point, they can release a 4 terahash unit at $4,000, 35. You know what I'm saying? Like there is room for that competition there, right? But again, the price of terahash has to make sense. And the quality of the unit has to make sense, right? Which IBeLink and GoldShell have been in the game, right? So quality the best? Is the customer service the best? GoldShell, I can tell you, not so much. As far as the customer service goes. Quality, so far they seem okay, right? They seem like they've been holding up. But as far as in terms of these bigger guys, we gotta wait and see, right? But it is something we'll keep our eye on. I will be more interested in those more so than the big guy. Again, for the big guy, there's just a lot of risk, man. So for me, like what, mid-tier unit, like adding another 4 terahash or something and the price is decent, or 5 terahash and the price is good, I would consider it, but it'd have to be extremely, extremely appealing on the price front, right? So who knows though, now that we do have the competition, maybe they do fight for it, right? So we'll have to wait and see. But again, the BMKS is here. We'll see what other models they release and specifically what GoldShell does, right? When the GoldShell release comes out, that kind of can dictate the market. If their price is similar to this thing or higher, I don't see it doing too well, and that kind of benefits us for any existing miners just because it's going to prolong any price cuts, right? I think at this point they're kind of hoping for Kaspa to get a pump so that way they can increase the prices, right? Because realistically, this most recent price drop wasn't that much, right? For example, I paid $7,800 for my KS3M, and they have it at their MSRP at $7K. So for $800, it's definitely not enough of a price cut, considering the rewards went down like 35%, right? So to me, at that point, it's not scaling too well, right? Especially with Kaspa specifically, just because of how aggressive that emissions reduction is and how aggressive the freaking increase in the hash rate is. Right, it has to make sense that for 11K, I mean, it's a big chunk to hit, man. Like, yes, the profitability number looks good, but a lot of risk, right? So we'll see. Again, what would be more appealing are those mid-tier units. We'll see who releases first. We'll see what GoldShell does. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll report on it. Alright, guys, well, let me know in the comments. And please, guys, if you guys have any IBeLinks, please make sure to comment. Let us know how it's been doing, if it's been holding up, or if you've been having issues. That way it'll kind of give us some ideas, right? So let me know in the comments, guys, what you guys are thinking. Do you guys think this is a good deal? Is it not bad? Do you think they're too late? Let me know. Right? So thank you for watching, guys. Please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. And I am out.